At Dayton Public Schools, we come together to celebrate the spirits of sportsmanship and community.
However, poor behavior by fans and sometimes athletes have created challenges that impact the safety and enjoyment of these gatherings.
We believe in creating a positive and inclusive environment for everyone, students, families, and fans alike.
Our collective responsibility is to ensure that our athletic events remain safe, enjoyable, and supportive.
To achieve this, we have a few reminders. Respect the game.
Make sure you show respect for the athletes, coaches, and officials.
Remember that these events are about skill, teamwork, and friendly competition. Do not walk on the court or field and remain in the stands and on the sidelines. Show support in a positive way.
Celebrate good plays and efforts by the team you're there to support.
Avoid negative chants, cheers, or comments that may create a hostile environment.
Set a positive example. Adults should lead by example for students.
Remember that children are watching, learning, and absorbing your reaction.
Students should lead by example for their peers and for those who look up to them.
Remember that your behavior influences those around you.
Let's come together to support our students in the right way.
Positive energy enhances the entire experience and creates lasting memories for our young athletes.
Join us in fostering an environment where everyone feels welcome, safe, and inspired. Together, let's make our athletic events a source of pride for our entire community.
We are DPS.
It really is a wonderful event for kids to express themselves in ways that are outside of just being in class. So it's an exciting time in Dayton Public Schools, watching our young people really tell stories about politics, about how they feel, about the world, all types of sides of them that we don't normally see during the school day.
To be honest, I was blown away. It's beautiful coming to my city and seeing the young talent, you know what I mean? It takes a lot to get on stage and to, stand in front of a lot of people, and I know some people rehearsed it and some of them was like reading it live, but it's different when you're in front of people, and they did their thing, so I was excited to be a part of it.
Something that I really liked was that every student's piece, it had some level of impact. It meant something. A lot of it was a personal story.
They all left a piece of them on that stage, and for me, that was big for them being students, their youth out here expressing themselves. That just made me happy.
We need to use dialogue within our communities, states, and nation to achieve the dream of so many people in the world. A dream of peace and justice that has been put off for too long. A dream that we must keep fighting for together.
We are gathered here tonight to commemorate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So great of a champion he was to our people and a true king amongst men. But I challenge each of you to take a long, hard look at yourselves and reflect. Then ask yourselves, would he be proud of where we are today?
Anybody who can write and wants to write or wants to be able to express themselves, they should come here. There's no reason, if you have the opportunity, for you not to try.
And after you try, you're gonna get better. So never be afraid to start and try.
That's right.
If anybody is watching this, you can tell we have some amazingly dynamic, smart, wonderful kids in Dayton Public Schools. Tell me why you're in Dayton Public Schools.
I like going to E.J. Brown because of the staff. I love
like
the
that.
staff.
Yeah, you got a new principal. He is good.
Mm-hmm.
He walks around a lot, checks on you guys. I like him.
I want to be a robotics engineer. I want to take that to college and do great things with it.
How'd you come up with that?
I'm in a pathway called advanced manufacturing, and I'm taking it currently.
So your exposure or your experience in advanced manufacturing got you start thinking about, hey, this is the field I want to go into.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Awesome.
I like going to Belmont because I like the people and I like the teachers and I like the staff, and especially like the principal, Miss McDowell.
I want to go to Dayton Public Schools because I feel like every single teacher in Dayton Public Schools are really appreciated of the students that they have and show a lot of love to them.
What I like most about the district is all of the opportunities that they have, such as DPS University, where you can earn college credits while you're still in high school. The staff is really welcoming, and they're always pushing you to do your best in whatever you do.
I'm looking forward to getting some of my college credits already out of the way before I go to college. I have a lot of favorite staff members, but the one who I would say influences me the most is most likely Miss Mo, because she just stays on top of everyone and she makes sure that you're doing well and having a good day and stuff like that.
I'm thinking of studying law and becoming a lawyer because I don't really like the laws we have now. So I'd like to maybe change them.
I like it. So you want to be an advocate?
Yes.
DeAndre?
I've thought about being a realtor. I always wanted to
What?
get rid of that. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I've never heard a kid say that.
I wanted to get rid of the whole bunch of empty vacant houses around my neighborhood, feel me? It just seemed like a good thing to do because it just make the neighborhood look bad. Even though it's good people around there, it just make my neighborhood look bad.
The whole staff and administration helped me get through my sophomore year all the way to my senior year.
King, I appreciate you sharing that space where you said you had some adversity, you know, and that this hasn't always been an easy road, and there was a whole family that wrapped their arms around you. I want you to know how much we in Dayton Public Schools are proud of you, first of all, and how much we wish you the best in the future, and we hope that you stay in touch with us so we're able to talk about what a graduate looks like as they move out into the world and do things other than high school.
Project Life is a transition program for students that have special needs and are on IEPs. It's post-secondary, so once they meet all their graduation requirements, their IEP team can decide that they would like to have them continue to receive services, and they can stay with us until their 22nd birthday. We teach them employability skills, how to get a job, how to keep a job, how to interact with people, interact with supervisors, how to be aware of what accommodations you need to be successful at the job. Then we give them a chance to practice that by going out in the community and working. And so our students build those skills, so once they leave, they can be successful and as independent as they can be going forward. So right now we're partnered with Boonshoff Museum. We go there weekly. The students clean the display cases, they clean high touch points. We partner with Woodman Bowl. This is our second year partnered with Woodman Bowl. We go there every Thursday. The kids vacuum, they clean and sanitize bowling balls. They organize all the shoes. In the warmer months, we go to the Learning Tree Farm. It's also our second year for that, and the kids get to do farm work or we garden. We also have a standing partnership with Innovative Plastic, and the outside business partnerships is really what makes this program great because it gives the kids an opportunity to put the skills we talk about into practice. Currently, it's open to any Dayton Public Schools student that has an IEP and has met all the graduation requirements, and it's simply a decision that their team makes at their senior IEP meeting that they want them to do what's called defer their diploma and continue to receive services. Everyone can do anything that you put your mind to. Sometimes you may have to do a little bit differently. You might have to figure out something that makes it work for you, but everyone is capable. And don't ever let anybody tell you that you're not.
Thurgood Marshall was an important figure in American history. And here in Dayton, one of our high schools proudly bears the name of this incredible man. Thurgood Marshall was born on July 2nd, 1908. Marshall is best known for his groundbreaking work as a lawyer and judge. Marshall became widely known for his role as the lead attorney for the NAACP. He fought tirelessly for civil rights, particularly in the area of racial segregation. Marshall's most significant achievement was arguing the landmark case of Brown versus the Board of Education. before the Supreme Court in 1954. This case led to the end of racial segregation in the public schools in the United States. For his remarkable contributions to the field of law and civil rights, Thurgood Marshall received numerous awards and honors. In 1967, he became the first African American to be appointed as a Supreme Court Justice, a position he held until his retirement in 1991. Justice Marshall passed away on January 24, 1993. His legacy continues to inspire and shape the pursuit of justice in our society. Celebrating Black History Month in Thurgood Marshall, I'm Robin Patterson for Dayton Public Schools.
Dayton Public Schools, welcome to 2024. Interim Superintendent Dr. David Lawrence recently visited all middle and high schools across the district. Students were encouraged to speak up about their goals and their dreams. Accompanied by board members and staff, they reminded students to stay on course and never let anyone get in the way of their success. Let's make sure to positively represent our city and make our community proud. We'd like to welcome our new Dayton Board of Education members, Dr. William Bailey and Eric Walker. Dr. William Bailey said he's looking forward to so much, stating hard work, collaboration, and change. And Eric Walker said the growth of family, students, and staff. Will Smith was elected to serve as our 2024 Dayton Board of Education President, while Karen Wick was elected as our Board Vice President. If you're looking for more information regarding the Dayton Board of Education, check out DaytonPublic.com and click on The Board. Dayton Public Schools is searching for its next superintendent. Our three finalists are Dr. David Lawrence, Dr. Elisa Smith, and H. Allen Smith II. Do you want to know more about each candidate? Check out our Superintendent Search series on YouTube.
My name is H. Allen Smith II, and I am a proud candidate for Dayton Public Schools.
Hello, I'm Dr. Smith, the Chief of Schools for Cincinnati Public Schools.
This is actually rather difficult, not because it's an interview, but it's forcing me to talk about myself, and that typically is not my style.
Who's your choice? Let us know your thoughts down below. Students, it's getting cold outside. Make sure you're bundled up when standing outside waiting for the bus. If you're in need of any winter clothing items such as hats or gloves, please reach out to a trusted teacher, principal, or counselor. If you'd like to help out, the district is collecting new winter items in any size for our students. Collection bins will be located at these 5 locations until February 16th. Anything helps to keep our students warm this winter, and we appreciate your donations. I'm Landon Keaton. We'll catch you next time on In Case You Missed It.
Charity Adams Early made many contributions to education, the military, and her community. Early was born on December 5, 1918 in North Carolina. Charity was valedictorian at Booker T. Washington High School and received a scholarship to attend Wilberforce University. Early graduated in 1938 and began teaching math and science at a junior high school in South Carolina. During World War II, Charity joined the Women's Army Corps, or WAC. She traveled to Iowa to begin training. In 1943, she was promoted to major, being the highest-ranking female officer at the training center. In 1944, Early was made commanding officer of the first ever unit of the WAC to travel overseas. She ran the 6,888th Central Postal Directory Battalion. The main objective of the 6,888 was to sort and send millions of pieces of backlogged mail to U.S. servicemen in Europe. The mission was essential. The lack of mail meant low morale for the troops. Charity's unit handled 65,000 pieces during each 8-hour shift. They worked 24 hours a day. Remarkably, they cleared the mail in just 3 months. Early was promoted to lieutenant colonel in 1945, the highest possible rank for any woman in the WAC. After leaving the WAC in 1946, Early went back to Ohio State University and completed her master's degree. In 1947, she transitioned to being a dean of students for colleges in Tennessee and Georgia. Charity returned to Ohio in the 1950s. Here, she served the community, sitting on the board of directors and the board of governors for Dayton's Red Cross and Sinclair Community College. Early was also the founder of the Black Leadership Development Program in Dayton in 1982. It's no wonder that Dayton Public Schools honors the memory and achievements of this extraordinary woman by naming one of its schools after her. The Charity Adams Early Academy serves students from pre-K through the 8th grade. Celebrating Black History Month and Charity Adams Early, I'm Tobias Ashlock for Dayton Public Schools.
Hi, my name is Penny Bain. I'm a grandmother of 2 children that attends Ruskin Elementary School. I love things down here at Ruskin because I just feel like it's a loving, caring school. They offer so much. It's the love that they get. It takes a village to raise a child, and this is a village. There's a custodian here, Mr. Body. He gives them like fist bumps, and he makes sure he gives every child one before they enter the school. And then if they're tardy, they go and then they see Miss Love, and she's always giving bear hugs and loves and said, "Now, get on school on time." But my experience with one that I had is my little granddaughter had separation anxiety, and the school helped her tremendously get over that, and like let her know that she is safe. She is, they got a safe place for her, but it's wonderful, like the staff, and they just do so much.
We'll let you get to your seat, Miss Leslie.
She's not the only one that likes core. Whenever you get some, could you get an extra bottle for me as well? She ain't shit.
He don't even need that, Leslie. He
She
like
only
Kroger.
she only a reverend.
You want this cold?
I don't want it now.
I didn't want to give it to you anyway.
I know you did. I'm like the Lord. I don't want nothing. I'm all right. How you doing? That should be your sermon next week.
All right, the jokesters down there.
Oh my God.
Next, that should be your next week's sermon.
Everybody up?
Oh, come on, Mr.
I'm out.
Oh.
You good?
Go ahead. I'm gonna catch
May I continue? I'll separate y'all.
He feel left out.
Good evening. I'd like to call this Tuesday, March 12th review session to order. Madam Treasurer, may we have a roll call?
President Smith.
Here.
Ms. Wick.
Present.
Dr. Goodwin.
Here.
Dr. Bailey.
Here.
Mr. Lacey.
Here.
Mr. Walker.
Here.
Ms. Reinhardt.
Present.
Did I say Ms. Wick? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Nicholas.
Here.
8.
Thank you. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I see you try to be.
Moving. All right, good evening, everybody. We want to move quickly. And okay. We want to move through here. No presentations tonight. I see you, Ahmed, smiling. We want to go to a hearing of the bargaining units. Do we have any bargaining units present that wish to speak? If you represent a bargaining unit and you're here to speak for, one of the unions. Seeing that there's none. Next, Madam Treasurer, do we have anyone from the public that signed to speak this evening?
Yes.
All right. Before we come up, like always, please state your name and address. I'd like to keep your comments to 3 minutes. And also, if you have to hand anything to the board, please do so through the treasurer. Please address the board as a whole and not individual board members. And only speak on things that we are not pending legal matters, things that should go to executive session, things that have already been handled, so on and so forth. We're ready for you, Madam Treasurer.
Sabrina Davenport. Okay.
All right. Hello.
know the legality.
You're
or I don't
good.
know
You're
what
doing
you
great.
addressed beforehand.
You're
So
good.
if you forgive me for my ignorance on the situation, do you guys have questions for me? Because I've talked to multiple board members, I've talked to principals, I've submitted paperwork, so I'm not sure where I'm supposed to go from here.
If you could you speak just on the situation so the board as a whole
What,
can
what
be abreast?
exactly is the situation I'm speaking on? Because
Oh,
there's
that-
multiple situations that I've addressed.
Oh, you can go ahead then.
I mean,
So, no, this right now, it's not a back and forth on it. When the
Okay.
hearing of the public is for the public to
which,
speak
okay,
on their
public,
matters.
the public is regarding what, okay, because I have two children in Belmont and Cleveland Elementary, so high school and elementary. So what exactly?
Speak on anything you want.
Okay. Okay, so as a parent, I was asked to give recommendations how to handle situations when I don't have a college education. I don't know how grades are imputed. I don't know how the system works, but somehow I'm noticing flaws in your system in both elementary and high school level. And both my kids and other kids are suffering because of it. And I am not just focusing on my children. I am focusing on the discriminatory factor that your school system, that your teachers are holding our students. First of all, Halloween. In Cleveland Elementary, K through 3rd got to dress up. Teachers in all grades and principals got to dress up, and they were designated Barbies. Teachers are responsible for children, correct? So why are our kids being punished and teachers are allowed to dress up when they meet a certain criteria that our students aren't? What do our students have to fight for if teachers are being benefited when students are left in the dust? Students are just discarded because teachers earn points based off attendance and scores and all these things, but they're responsible for our children. And then principals don't even know what a weighted grade is. They don't know if you input a grade, how it is inputted and disputed in a system, elementary and high school. And I've talked to several people and no one has answers for me. And I'm asked how I want to solve this issue when it's not my issue to solve. It's not just it's not a child's issue. Before my children came here, my children were rated top in their school system beforehand. Their transactions, their academic placement, because I used the wrong word before coming to the board, weren't transcripts. Their transcripts were not transferred over from their prior schools. I personally went in and delivered the MAP testing, which from my review is Ohio is the start of MAP testing, but they didn't come in to MAP testing till way later, right? My kids are top performers in MAP testing, but then I get emails sent home for my 5th grader suggesting ABC Mouth and Lilo, which is a 2nd grade reading level, which in kindergarten, she had the top MAP testing scores in the state in Georgia. I'm constantly being insulted because their transcripts, I know that's not the right word, were not transferred over. And then to this day, even though I did it last week, they're still not seen. No one can account what grades are being imputed, what systems or what classes are weighted.
Okay, well, that is the time. Two, I haven't got anything from you, so.
You
that is
haven't
on-
gotten, okay.
No, ma'am,
Okay,
but what I will.
I've called, it's been an ongoing problem for months.
So
I-
what, oh,
the-
go ahead,
the-
no,
the-
go ahead.
I've been going into the school. The only time that I was told about this board meeting
Mhm.
was today.
Okay.
And I inputted, if you look it up, literally 20 minutes before I came here.
Okay. I will.
That is how concerned, not about my children are smart. My children's transcripts, again, that's not the right word, will defend themselves and they will back up everything that I fought for them. But that does not fight for the students that are being left behind because of your weighted grades.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. I will say, for one, if someone can get Ms. Davenport's information, one, I would like to.
I'm
I'll
sure
speak
everyone
to
has
you.
my information
I'll speak
because
to
I've-
you. I definitely want to reach out. And then also, Mr. Lawrence, if you could look, and you said Belmont and Cleveland,
And they previously went to Eastmont.
and at East, okay. So if
I've
we
talked
can-
to Ms.
if-
Bims.
If we can get some conversation going, Dr. Lawrence, please do. Before you leave here, I want to make sure we can get some conversation going.
No,
I
this
wanna
is
say-
this not the floor for a conversation?
No, ma'am.
What is the point of a board meeting? Again, this is my, I apologize.
It's fine. You don't have to apologize. I
This,
don't want
this
you
is
to
my first
apologize.
meeting. Isn't this to address concerns?
Yes,
And you're
ma'am.
not addressing anything that I said. You're just pushing me aside and telling me people are gonna contact me later. That's not a solution. I've been pushed aside constantly. It's not my job as a parent.
Ma'am.
No, it's not my job
Ma'am,
as a parent
please,
to
please, 'cause
resolution.
Now you're out of order. This is not the forum for us to go back and forth to find the solution.
I'm not going back
but I
and forth. You're
will-
not listening to
Ma'am,
me.
I definitely am listening. I'm listening. And what I'm trying to do is get to a solution, but this right now, none of us have a full breadth of where you're speaking on and what is going on, so we would be here all night trying to get to that part first. So I will say, I don't want you to apologize about not knowing how the board meetings go.
No, no,
'cause
that's
I
the
don't-
only thing I'm
excuse me,
apologizing for.
ma'am. I don't want you to feel that way. I do want parents to come out, but with that, we have to find ways that we get to that solution, and back and forth right now won't get to it. But trust me, I do want to find that, and that is why I will reach out to you. I've looked through, I
I'm
don't
not
have any
apologizing for what I've
emails.
said. I'm
Ma'am,
apologizing for not knowing
I'm
how
not
the
saying that
system
you are.
works.
So that is that piece. That is all there, ma'am.
You
So,
just want to silence me?
no, I'm not trying to silence you, but you have
never-
spoke
you
for
didn't
your
even
time.
answer one of my questions.
That is not what we're here for at that time, ma'am.
What is the point of
Ma'am,
this then?
that is it.
To just, I speak, and then you just delegate me to someone else, which I've been doing?
Okay. If we can move along with the next speaker, do we have any other speakers, Madam Treasurer?
Sabrina David, D-A-V-B-E-I.
That is Ms. Davenport there.
Two of them. Okay.
That's fine.
That's it.
All right, thank you.
Mr. President, can I make a request?
Yes.
Could either Chief Spurlock or Chief Dooley, could one of you guys speak with her? That way she knows that you guys are the individuals who could probably help her more than we could. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Goodwine. Appreciate you. If you could, then get back to the board, make the board aware of what exactly is going on and the next steps that we're trying to do to rectify the situation, Dr. Lawrence.
Absolutely. Ms. Spurlock has been in contact with Ms. Davenport today, and now she's going to go out and follow up on today's conversation from earlier.
All right, appreciate that.
No problem.
You said we have no other speakers, Madam Treasurer?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Next, superintendent's recommendations, Dr. Lawrence.
Thank you. I recommend the approval of the following human resources agenda A for a vote.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
It's been moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions on the motion?
I would like to pull item 11 till after executive session.
All right. That shall be done for you, Mr. Walker. Any other comments, questions on the motion? Dr. Goodwine.
Yes, can I just have an update of where we are on filling our supplemental for the athletics for the spring sports?
I can send it to you via email, but we can resend it.
Can I just get a number? Like, are we filled? Just a ballpark.
Ms. Jones, can you speak to that?
I thought
said
you
Miss
said
Jones.
Miss Jones.
I said Miss Jones. I said Miss Jones.
He been listening to the dramatics.
I was like, he got it. Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. I'll just do a rundown of all our sports. So Belmont, we do have our softball and head and assistant. They should be on the board agenda today. Other than that, baseball is filled, and boys and girls track is filled. We have boys volleyball too. Excited to still have that team. And then for our girls flag football, we do have a volunteer for that. I know Dr. Lawrence is trying to work diligent with assisting with that compensation, but we do have some volunteers, and it actually will be our head football coach, so he'll be stepping in, so we're excited about that. And then for Dunbar, we do have questionable for our baseball and softball. They had their pupil activities are pending, and as you know, we are getting started, so at some point we have to make the decision on those two sports. We do have boys and girls track, newly boys volleyball, so we're excited about that too. And then girls flag football, we do have 2 coaches for that, and they are current coaches as well. For opponents, no coaches are pending. We have baseball there, boys and girls track, boys volleyball, softball, and we do have a girls flag football for that as well. And then for Meadowdale, we're excited about this. We are getting softball off the ground over there. So we have a coach that should be on the board agenda today. We also have boys volleyball. Our current girls coach will take on that. And then we have our boys and girls track and flag football too. One of our assistant football coaches will take on that. And again, volunteers. So just good we have those relationships with them to take on that. Stivers. Boys volleyball. So I'll just announce it. We have those for all of our schools this year. So excited for that. We have tennis, softball. We have that, of course, and then boys and girls track. And then Thurgood, we are having some challenges over there at Thurgood. Softball is a little shaky just because we are getting impacted by the flag football, so we're trying to see if we can pull those numbers. We do have a coach that is interested in that. And then we are going to attempt to do boys tennis, and we have boys and girls track. We are still trying to identify our girls coach, but we do have an assistant from the boys side that might step up and take that. And then we have flag football there as well. And then for middle school, we have boys and girls track at all the middle schools.
Thank you. I'm excited to hear that there is a second tennis team. I know board member Reiner's son, I believe, plays tennis. So the fact that he may have some competition at another high school, I mean, I'm excited. That's a growth.
We identified the coach. We just got to do the interview, but he has all his credentials. So
that's exciting. That's some growth there. That's something that hasn't been at that school in a while. So thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Jones while we have her up? All right.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate you, Ms. Jones. Dr. Goodwin says she's going to get out there and help with flag football as well.
I was sweet in my intramural days.
Mr. President, can I pull item 28 till after executive as well?
So you have 11 and 28, correct,
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
All right. Anything else? Going once, going twice. See no further questions. May we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacey,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Nichols.
Yes.
8 yeses.
Thank you. Next recommendation?
I recommend approval of the following human resources DEA after July 10th.
I
So
entertain a
moved.
motion. It's been moved. Do we have a second? It's been seconded by Mr. Lacy. Any questions? Seeing,
Oh, I do have one.
go ahead, Dr. Goodwin.
Since we're voting on this right now, Did these individuals, did they give us exit interviews? Tell us like why they left us in their contract?
Dr. Jones, would you please respond to that?
Yes, they did. Typically, when they send in their resignations, it goes to an HR partner. An HR partner reaches out and has a conversation with them. I can share the executive content with you when I get back to my seat.
Okay, and to date, has any of the DEA after July 10th that we haven't approved, have any of their licenses been blocked?
Some of them have, yes. Not all.
Oh, can you send me which ones have been blocked? Please, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions on the motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
No.
Ms. Wick,
No.
Dr. Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
No.
Mr. Lacey,
Yes. I mean, no, I'm sorry.
no. Okay. Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reiner,
No.
Mr. Nichols.
Yes.
Okay, see, 3 yeses and 5 no.
Your next recommendation?
I'd ask the board to just look at for review, not vote, homeless education retention and retaining retention navigator pay scale.
Okay. Any questions for Dr. Lawrence?
What's the difference between this and the other roles?
LaShawn, would you like to speak to that? Or Ms. Graham?
Good evening, Board, Dr. Lawrence. This position will be a part-time position who will work specifically, well, directly with students, tracking their attendance, making sure that we're removing those barriers to make sure that they are successful in school, and the focus of this person will be for ages 12 to 18.
Okay, so how is this one different from the homeless liaison?
The homeless liaison has a lot of roles to do. We had established that we needed more staffing. So the homeless liaison works with the identification of the students and managing the grants for the funding for the homeless program and putting those resources in place. This person will also be like a systems navigator for students. And plus, as we know, they need more hands to help them with the growing population of homeless students in our district.
So this would be the third position for the homeless population?
Yes, this will be.
Okay.
And it'll be a part-time position for right now.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Reiner?
I have a kind of nitpicky question. Is this under the McKinney-Vento fund?
We do not necessarily have McKinney-Vento sub-grant this year. We're applying for it for the next 2 years. This position will be under the ARP homeless funds.
Okay. Is there, at your last presentation, and this is a term that I've heard before, instead of using the word homeless, we have kind of shifted to the term unhoused. Is there a reason, should we be adjusting the name change to reflect that change in understanding how we speak of this vulnerable population as well, too?
Well, typically in McKinney-Vento program, we do refer to them as displaced or transitioning, because unhoused to me has a negative connotation as if they don't have, they're not all unhoused. Most of our students are not living on the streets. They do have a house or somewhere to stay, whether they're doubled up or they're in a shelter or wherever they may be. So displaced or transitioning sounds a little bit better.
Yeah. Do you think, and I'll defer to the superintendent, should we have the title of this reflect that as well, too? Again, I know it doesn't have anything to do with the position itself, but understanding what we do know about the ways that we serve these populations.
I definitely think it's a conversation. It's not just here, but everywhere, having that conversation around nomenclature, language, and not just being politically correct, but being accurate around what the situation is.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And this is nothing against the position, but just to all clarity, next week I will vote no. It's not for the position, it's because I do not agree with paying people the same rate of pay for 3 years in a row, and that's across all DSS positions. But thank you for your work in this position.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anybody else? Dr. Goodwin?
Yeah, you open. I was going to ask that. What are we looking at the longevity for the person staying in this position? This would be 35 hours a week?
At the minimum, most likely.
So based on it being a part-time job at a flat rate for like the typical way, because I know I put a request out last year, not to you, but to, at the time, Dr. Lawrence's business manager, the former superintendent, and the treasurer, to kind of really look a little bit differently at how we pay individuals, thinking about, like, as Board Member Walker just stated, keeping a person flat for 3 years at $25, knowing our inflation has, I mean, I get that it's a part-time job, but a lot of individuals, they're part-times, they're working as if they're full-times. Do you believe that the turnover, or how do you believe the turnover will look?
Well, I would actually have to direct that question about the rate to HR. We established that starting rate for this year will be $25 an hour. As far as the subsequent years, that would be a conversation with HR.
Okay. So this is
But I
what-
think, I mean, I
this is
understand.
my question for you. Do you believe that you'll be able to retain an individual beyond 2 years with, like, how it looks right now? Because I want, when we create new positions and we give them to you, I know how much work goes into retraining individuals. And if there's a way that we can make it a more attractive position for the longevity, I mean, I feel like this is the place for you to bring
Absolutely.
that to us.
Absolutely. And I think this is just like the starting of this position, and it'll give us time after we fill it the first time to reassess what the needs are, if the position needs to be full-time, and how that works, the workload and how many students that they affect. So we'll still have to do some evaluation of this position when it goes into place so we can ensure the longevity like you mentioned.
Okay, can I make a request that instead of voting on, what is that, like 11 years? We can do 2 years on it to make sure that you come back to us to know, like, all right, they outside their scope there. Is this where it should have been at, or should have gone better? Because I want you guys to be successful, and I want you to retain individuals who are passionate about their work, but also can meet their financial needs of being able to have a livable wage.
Madam
So-
Treasurer?
The pay tables are for 3 years, but people get increases each year. So changing one pay is not going to make it good.
What would be the increase from the 0 to 3 if it only says 25 on here?
No. Every year, at the end of the year, there is an increase.
Of what percentage?
Whatever percentage is determined. Like last year, it was 3%.
So it's,
The prior year, it was 3%.
okay.
But after these 3 years, it is 2.5%.
Yeah, going from $25
Step.
to 26,
No,
92
the step.
in 11 years is nuts.
So, okay.
Yeah, Mr. Walker.
Question I have is, if it's approved at 25 for 3 years, how do they get an increase if the increase was not approved until year 4 through 6?
Every year, there is an increase at the end of the year.
Okay, so that's for every employee.
For all administrators and DSSs, I assume this one is a DSS position.
That's correct.
And this will come out
So-
of general fund?
No,
Okay, so if you don't have McKinley-Vento grant, then what is this coming out of?
it's going to come out of ARP homeless for this year, and then next year, if we're applying for the McKinney-Vento grant, we'll put this position in that grant. If we don't get the grant, then it'll be in Title I.
All right, I would ask then that we look at that, kick it over to Treasury, kick it with HR, Treasury and HR get into the look so we can get, and present back to the board kind of the questions that we're asking, where it'll be, where do we see the future of the position, and then kind of get that scope there. That would be my request, to get that so we have some clarity before we try to have a vote on it.
Can I ask what clarity you need?
The clarity that people are asking now about what is that scale. Madam Treasurer is saying there's a percentage there. On here, the scale looks different from that we're saying here. So I think there needs to be some cleaning up in that to understand what, because from what we're hearing on one end, it's saying that there's a raise in every year, but then on this end, it's saying that it's jumping up 60 cents in 4 years.
Correct.
So that is that conversation there. And then also where this position is it a DSS, is it not? I think those are some of the pieces that we need to understand. Were you about to say something, Dr. Jones? Okay.
Can I ask one more while he coming up?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you also add just what it would have been if this was a full-time position versus a part-time, what that would have done to our budget, please, in the request? I don't need it right now.
Okay, I got you.
Good evening, everyone. So basically what happens is for DSS and admin, so all of us, we don't have a salary schedule, so that's why you see $25 an hour. What board approved 2 years ago was the raise that DEA gets. We get the same pickup. So we're not getting a raise, but our base is the same, but we're getting a pickup. So last year, the first year was 3% pickup. Another 3% was added for 2024, so we have 6% pickup. And once the 25 contract is ratified for DEA, we'll get the same amount of pickup. That's how the board approved it.
Okay.
So let's say it's a 3% or 2%, so it will go to 8 or 9% pickup on retirement.
Yeah.
Okay, so then could you, for those who weren't around and for those who may not, always be thinking that, I think that would be good to put in when we have these DSS salary scales and those admin pieces. So then those like that note to say that because of board approved X date, this is what it looks like. Because I get when you're saying that it's understandable that it has to look like this, but what you're saying is because of what the board approved, inside of that, there are the steps built in through whatever is in the DEA contract, correct?
Yeah, correct. It's raises
It is
built in.
already approved.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm saying that, but I'm saying, can you just put that language in there so when people are asking that question, they know that that's all.
Okay.
And we are currently working on the pay schedules, the HR team with the payroll team as well, Treasury.
Okay.
What's the timeline on that being completed?
I do believe that it be prudent that we complete the budget first, and then we can start working pretty aggressively to get those pay schedules planned out.
How will those impact contracts? Because I know there's some people who are at the end of their contract term and going into the next one.
I think you need to understand the bottom line before working in increases, so we don't go beyond what the budget is, the 5-year forecast and everything.
Yeah,
is
but
important.
Marvin, what it is already approved, so I cannot go change it. It's approved, the 3% is approved last year for 2025. That 3%.
You guys are talking about two different things.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that it's not approved. I'm saying
It needs to show up on
it needs
here.
to just show, not show
Yeah,
up. Like,
show up,
it
he
can put a
said,
note.
okay.
That's what I'm saying.
But
like a
now
note,
he's
that's all.
talking about budgets. The budget is already,
Oh, that's something
It's-
different,
it's
Madam
a-
Treasurer.
No, he was talking about pay scales
Yeah.
of the whole organization, not just this one right here, which is based on a request made last year. So,
Anything else on this one? Mr. Walker? Good. All right. Next recommendation, please, Mr. Superintendent.
I want to make a recommendation, but I don't see it attached. The agreement, Thank you, Ms. Guerin.
Come up, you still refreshing.
Mine is still refreshing. I'm looking at yours, it's still spinning as well. Yours up? Who's yours, yo? Yeah, I recommend for review that the board take a look at, let's go back to this. Recommend for review, the board take a look at review the agreement, AFL-CIO, Dayton Building and Construction Trades for vote next week, for review this week.
Okay. I will ask that the board take a look at that, make sure that you get any questions in, so we will all be ready. Not only this, but when things come on our agenda, make sure that we're forwarding our questions. Mr. Walker,
I think Alex had.
we can discuss it.
Yeah, I'm saying my only request is that when we do these contracts, I don't like to just pass stuff blindly. So I never know what we're actually passing of, what was negotiated, and how did y'all come up with it and things like that. So if I can just, I put the request out to Superintendent, Treasurer, and Business Manager probably a month ago to get like this information, and I have not received it. So that would be great if I can get that for next week.
All right.
No problem at all.
Ms.
See,
Reiner?
So all all the previous contracts?
Yeah, I mean, all previous contracts, anytime something like this with union is coming before us, I just don't want to vote yes because everyone is telling us to vote yes, and I want to see what was actually negotiated, how did you come up with it, what was at the table, since I just never know.
So in the review session, we always have attached the agreement itself, and then it gives you a week to read it into the business session. But if you're asking us to, if you want to upload the red line agreement before and what it was before, what we took out, what we added, we can do that.
Yeah, because the last one, it was not the review session, it was just in front of us to vote on. So then I had submitted my request prior to the vote and did not get a response.
Ms. Reiner?
I would just like to thank all the parties. It is a great relief to see this particular contract on the agenda for review and up for a potential vote next week. You know, this has been this has been a long time coming, so thank you to everybody on every team that made this happen. I'm truly grateful for how much work went into this one. I know a lot of work goes into every single one, as Board Member Walker is excited to look into, but I'm grateful that this one is on the agenda.
Thanks, we appreciate it.
Anyone else? Next recommendation, sir.
I recommend for a review our agreement between Dayton Public Schools and the University of Dayton, our cooperative agreement.
All right. Any questions?
I have questions, but I think it's probably better to ask legal than to ask on the dais right now. Just some things that I see that I saw was represented, but that weren't included.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Were you going to say something, Dr.?
Yeah, I didn't hear the last thing you said. You said legal desk, and then you said that you said you saw some things that are not.
I saw something that was represented initially in these early mediations that I didn't see included, but I had a question out to legal about it.
Oh, okay.
And I hadn't got that response yet, so the other legal person on the team is here, so I could just ask him later since it's about negotiated terms.
Okay, gotcha.
But I believe.
All right. Anything else? We'll say I see President Spina in the building today. I think he's now a frequent flyer over at our meetings. I see our athletic director over there, Mr. Sullivan. Nice to see you, sir. Good luck in the tournament this year, even though I'm a Xavier grad. Your next recommendation, sir.
Recommendation for review is an MOU with the City of Dayton and Dayton Public Schools Athletics.
Any questions on this? I will go down to Dr. Goodwin.
Yeah, just more comments. I'm excited that this got completed. I know it was something that we really aggressively started working on last year, so shout out to Chief Jones and anyone else who was involved. I don't know who else worked on this other than Chief Jones and her AD team, but I'm excited to see that not only are we in partnership now with utilizing their pools, their fields, and their tennis groups, things like that, that is now, it is opening a door for a true partnership to really start flourishing. So thank you all.
Yes, and I would like to say I appreciate the work that that everybody has put into some of these things and understanding that we constantly talk about amenities that the city used to have, things that used to be in place with rec centers and the ability of how to do different things. And I think these kind of things show us moving forward and saying it's time out from always saying what we do not have, what we used to have, and we need to collaboratively look at what we have now. And so I really appreciate the work that has been going into these things. And I think these things that set us up good for the future. And most importantly, it's adults getting together to do things better for children. And I think that's always something that should be lifted up. I'm going to kick it down to Dr. Goodwin one more time.
Yeah, one more time. I will say, too, I encourage anyone who pays attention to anything that's happening in the public sector. The city, I believe I saw the article the other day in the Dayton Daily News about them going through and looking at their rec centers and their recreational items as a whole. If you have opinions on what's happening with them, check it out, go see them. I know in 2017, which I believe was a great decrease in swimming, was when they changed the pools, the outdoor pools, and I saw that one was coming back. And that's really good to see those type of things come back. But again, if community members don't go speak, because those are outside the realm of Dayton Public. One of our schools, Fairview Elementary, actually has one of the former Aqua Centers located on it. And it would be great to see that property excel at the way, in addition to what our property is doing right there. But again, if you do partake in anything recreation related, this is the moment in time that they are asking for feedback. Talk to them about the parks in your area and kind of just some of the things that you're hoping to come through.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Appreciate that. Yes, sir? Oh, thought there was some. Do we have any questions? Go ahead.
Are there any questions through the property agreement or the easement?
Did anybody have, I want you to definitely notice that there's the cooperative agreement, and then there's also the mutual easement in there under the content. So, like I said, if you have any questions while representatives from UD are here, if not, go ahead, Mr.
I do have a question. I thought that was in her question, but is there any wiggle room in the contract with this $3,000 for each year that we have, I think it's $3,000 for each graduation that we have?
I would just say that we have, this predates me as the superintendent. I think Dr. Lally started working, I know started working on it, and there were 3 board members, Ms. Wick, Gagne, President Smith, and Dr. Goodwine, who are participating in this, in the negotiations. And this was, after quite some time, the kind of the final agreement that we had. We did talk about that. Actually, it was more than that. It was around 5,000, and it came down to 3. And I think ours is significantly less than most other schools that use it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, I was just asking the easement. It was my understanding that this easement was supposed to replace prior easements, but the language doesn't state that.
I think the previous easement was a permit. It was called a permit.
Correct.
1271.
Right.
I think, I defer to the lawyers, that it just automatically supersedes that permit that's on record at the county.
So, okay, so then that's the question I have in with legal right now, because I would want that representation to matter here, because that was a big conversation between both entities there. And it is something that we want this to be the one that's moving forward, and not another group that has no background knowledge on any of the conversation and things that we've done over the last year. And it become, again, something that it shouldn't be in there, so.
I appreciate that. I definitely think that we definitely spent enough time seeing each other that we want whatever we do to last longer than we'll be on this board. So I want to say I appreciate that, and likewise we talked about with the MOU with the city. I definitely appreciate the work that we've been doing and sitting down and having real conversations with the University of Dayton. I think that it's been enough time that we're getting in a space now where we see each other a lot, but it's for good reason. So appreciate the work, and I appreciate the work of everybody on our team that looks out for Dayton Public Schools.
I did have a question on this.
Mr. Walker.
So in here it says that UD also will permit an all-star basketball game or similar basketball event at UD Arena in 2024. Basketball season is basically over, and by the time they come back around, we'll be in regular season. So is there any clarity on when this will take place and what that looks like?
We started these conversations well before basketball season, so it was just a request that if that were to come available, I don't know that the game even existed at that point, but it was the concept. And I think just we ended up multiple sessions into December, and then here we are. So I think just a matter of time passed. If that game comes back around and we want to talk about that, it could just as easily be for 25 and we have the same conversation. But I believe that when we started that conversation, it was well before basketball season even started, and just the process just extended.
That's correct. Basketball season had not started, and also the All-Star games for basketball are coming up right around now, right, Ms. Jones? April, May, so we still have time. Yeah.
I just like for, again, our athletic department to be included in these, to look at years going forward with these type of agreements and what that looks like on the partnership side. That's it for me.
All right. Dr. Goodwine?
Yes, there are some dates in here that are coming up on us fast, and I just want to know has the conversation started between UD and our athletic department for the April 1st deadline of, I believe, the UD football schedule? I just want to make sure that we can plan properly by knowing ahead of time, then getting it after the date in the contract, and us trying to adjust around some things.
Yes, all the dates for 24 are already on the shared calendar.
Okay.
Probably been on there for some time, and we're aware of those, and my office works close with Chief Jones to make sure we have those. So we should be in good shape on the football schedule.
Okay, and then to my second question, since we're out here right now, this, in March and April, I see this inter-squad football game. Are you guys knocking that out too?
We'll probably host that at our practice facility like we did last
Okay.
year. I think it just is the option. Sometimes spring games can become a bigger deal. If it's small and just parents, then we'll probably do that at our practice facility, which is most likely this year. It was just the opportunity to do that if we felt the spring game became something bigger than it is.
Okay, and my final question for this moment, you guys are moving your times to noon instead of 1 p.m.?
That is something that we can work on with Chief Jones. We offered to move it to noon if that would be helpful to allow the facility to be used later in the day. It's actually at DPS discretion to do that. So we will work on those dates. We have no problem moving from 1 to noon. It frees the building up later in the afternoon. So I think, I don't have the exact languages in here, but we would work together, and actually it can be DPS's call, or we can mutually do it together.
Okay, thank you. I have a question for Chief Jones. So, not to put you on the spot, but also put you on the spot. Since this is kind of in the area you actively worked in, I guess it's more of a request that you review the agreement, because you've worked under the old agreement, and this is the new one that you will be working on, and no one sitting up here will be doing the physical work on it. And I just hope that we've captured kind of the interests that you had in it. And, I mean, you've had a chance to read it, correct?
Just kind of received it, so,
Okay.
I mean, it's a very important document, so I'm not all the way through it. But I did like the fact that I did see in the event that we can't host playoff games due to conflict, that we have a resolve for that now, so.
Okay.
But honestly, I haven't read all of it yet, so. But the things I have looked at, they look
Well,
fair.
Okay, if there's any questions to bring up, I mean, we hope that you would bring them up to us before we vote on this next week. So if
Definitely.
there is something minor or something that can be explained, we can get that in real time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Chief Jones, you barely just received this?
I just received it a few days ago.
Okay, so I would ask the business manager and superintendent, can we add the chief of athletics, since that is her department, into these conversations?
That agreement actually has just been recently cleaned up, so we just got it recently. So yeah, we can do that.
So the initial conversations, again, just add an athletics chief, since this is her area inside of that with the knowledge.
Yeah, we can certainly do that. We were not, she was not part of the negotiations in the process, but we could have done that.
Anything else? Does that conclude your recommendation, sir?
No, my final recommendation,
I thought I could
final
catch
recommendation, you did. Final recommendation is contracts and agreements for review.
Please review these contracts. If you have any questions for now, let's have them.
Just for me, we always hear from Omega CDC on their updates and things like that, but not for these other ones. So can we try to get them to the table of giving us updates of how 21st Century works with their programming in the buildings that they're working out of?
Already been on that. Spoke about that in our agenda setting meeting. So we'll be having a presentation coming together to break down all of the work, what the 21st Century does, and then also having some pieces there about what each individual site is doing.
Thank you.
Try to get ahead of your thoughts, Mr. Walker, when I can.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I see that we have getting the safety film. Is there any examples of breaking and entering of the buildings?
I'll let them answer.
Yes, absolutely. Just last year, we had at WOW International, which is international now, At 1:30 in the morning, the front door completely shattered and broken with an intruder in the building, and Chief Wright, myself, and other operations folks had to respond, so it happens.
Just had Rosa Parks too.
Yep. Rosa
Yeah, Rosa Parks, and we had to cancel school for a week because people were in the building spraying fire extinguishers, so yep, it does happen.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. I ain't mad at you. Dr. Goodwin.
See, another prom on here has was it Thurgood we was left with? Did they get a prom location? Because it's now March.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought Dr. Jones was about to answer.
I did
like,
too.
man,
I was like,
I was
whoa.
like, okay,
It's a real cross training right there.
Dr. Jones doing it all.
Arcade, May 11th.
Oh,
Okay, May 11th.
Thurgood done came up. Good for them. I'm happy they get to utilize one of these community reinvestment.
There we go. Teamwork, teamwork.
I did have one more.
Anybody else before Mr. Walker asks you? No. Go ahead, Mr. Walker.
Okay, so looking at transfer, I mean, exactly how many programs does this make for career exploration for middle schools?
Good evening, board members, Dr. Lawrence. Thank you for the question about transfer. It's actually a pilot program we're doing right now to bring virtual reality programming to our career connections and career exploration classes. And it's a way to expose students with the virtual reality headsets to careers to see what they're truly interested in. This is a pilot program that will be at the Belmont Middle School. And once we, get all the results of it, and if it works, it will expand to all of our career exploration and experience classes, which we have them in middle school and high school.
So what's the implementation timeframe with the school year about to be over?
Well, we're going to implement it as soon as we possibly can, once everything goes through. Training we have set up actually around spring break week with the teacher who's agreed to do that, and then it'll be through the rest of the year. So it's making sure the technology works, seeing what the feedback is with the student.
Excuse me, ma'am.
To see the response from the students and the actual teachers.
So with this coming potentially after spring break, so have students not already chosen their pathway for high school?
Those that are in career tech have, but we do career, for those that are not in career tech, and they're just selecting career, which direction they would like to go, we have to provide that.
Okay, and then just for clarity, this is at Belmont Middle School as the pilot, and
Yes.
to see how it goes.
And then it'll expand to the rest of the schools from there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else on contracts? This concludes your recommendation, sir.
That does conclude my recommendations, President Smith.
Oh, thank you, sir. Madam Treasurer.
Okay, all my recommendations are for review only. I have A, accepting amounts and rates. This one is if we go to Exhibit 1, Exhibit A, it shows us what the tax commission is approving for us. So general fund, we have inside meal 4.48 mil, which estimated revenue will bring us is 8.6 million. General fund 63.07 meals outside 10 meal limit, it will bring us 66.4 million. Bond retirement fund, 6.37 mil, will bring 13.4 million. Classroom facilities, 50.5 mil, will bring 726,117. Another one is for permanent improvement fund, 0.5 mil. It will bring 726,170. So for general fund, we're going to get, the estimated revenue is 75 million, and for the retirement fund, 13.4 million. For classroom facilities, 726,117. For permanent improvement fund, 726,117. After you approve this one, we'll send it to the county so they can process it.
Any questions? From the board, ma'am? From the board. Go ahead.
Just for clarity, so the most recent levy that was passed was in 2008?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, if you go to Exhibit B, it will show you what levies we had. So you go to Exhibit B. In 76, we had 32.5 mil. In 88, 15.27 mil. In November 3, 1992, 10.4 mil. And current expense levy authorized in 2008, 4.9 mil. Those are the general fund levies we had.
Madam Treasurer, if you could, for those who may not be aware of it, can you briefly explain what you are referring to when you say meal?
Oh, that's the levy amount.
Now,
Yeah.
when we talk about that, can you just briefly explain what are we talking about when we speak on millage? Because it is easy for people to think that we're always speaking about millions. Could you
Oh,
explain
no.
that piece? Excuse me, ma'am. Madam Treasurer?
Yeah, 1 mil is 1,000. So if you have 100,000 house, 1 mil, how much is it going to bring you? So that is 1/10 of 1,000.
Thank you, Madam
Yeah.
Treasurer. Any other questions?
Just a follow-up. So with regards to the bond levy, that is 28 years, and we're at about 22 years so far. So in 4 years, that 13 million goes away?
Yes,
Okay. And then
when
all
we
of the,
finish, when the
bond
bond is retires, yes.
Okay, and then with all of the levies currently, we are only at property taxes, not income tax.
Property tax only.
Okay, and then my last question would be, just to clarify, if a new property is built, then we don't receive dollars from that property because it was not included in the original levy amount?
What do you mean?
So, well, I'll ask the county treasurer's office first. So.
Yes, we do.
We do.
We do,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Walker?
On your question, we get the rate that the levy was, not the rate that it is today, though, right?
In order to get the rate that it should be, then we would have to pass a new levy to then add that property into that actual amount.
And the value is
The
today.
value
Yes.
of
Not
that,
the value when
of
the levy is
today.
passed.
Right.
Yeah.
we
So-
get the value of that time.
So if a property was valued in 1992 at $0 and someone finally builds on it, we don't get that new value.
If someone built on it, we do get it.
But it's not
It's
as much.
a new one,
Okay.
I
You
think.
guys are saying two different
Yeah.
things.
I
So,
don't know.
Yeah.
We'll connect you to.
Yeah.
We'll connect you to.
Yeah,
We'll send him to Ahmed School.
no.
All right. Any other questions for the treasurer on this? Your next recommendation, Madam Treasurer?
Okay. The next one is B and C. They are the same. What we are trying to get is a resolution authorizing filing of original complaints against the tax valuations. So we worked with the legal, and they identified these properties which we can file a complaint. So we have so many of them. I can read one resolution for all of them, and I can discuss the value, the auditor's value, the sale value, and what the market we think should be. So I will read one resolution
I have a
only.
question for you. Okay, so we're saying that they valued it too low.
Yes.
Okay.
So this resolution authorizing filing of original complaint against tax valuations pursuant to RC 5715.19, whereas only on July 21st, 2022, the Ohio General Assembly amended RC 5715.19 to require Board of Education to pass a resolution authorizing the filing of original complaints against valuation under the statutes. And whereas the board intends to file an original complaint against valuation pursuant to RC 5715.19 against the following property: 34 North Jefferson Street, Dayton, Ohio, 45402, Montgomery County Auditor, parcel number R7200209007, the property. And whereas the property is owned by 34 North Jefferson Holding LLC and 34 North Jefferson Holding LLC has been sent notice of this resolution via certified mail at least 7 days prior to passage. And whereas the basis for this original complaint for each parcel identified as part of the property is RC 5715.19 AID, and whereas the original complaint authorized by the resolution for tax year 2023, and where now, therefore be it resolved, the Board of Education, in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 5715.19A-7D, authorizes the filing of the above described original complaint. Second motion, seconded, and stuff. This is in all the properties. I have like 20 of them. And the properties, I have a list, for example, for the 34 Jefferson Holding LLC. The school, the sale price is $910,000. The auditor's value $357,720, and the market, the fair market value we think is $556,280. The list goes on. If you want me to read it, I can go through the list.
I don't think
Okay.
you have to, Madam Treasurer.
Okay.
I will ask that if anyone wants to go deeper in that, outside of any surface
Okay.
questions here that we do, make sure we give Madam Treasurer. But before we move on, are there any other questions?
Where did she read those dollar amounts?
The dollar amounts, I have separate spreadsheets.
So there's a spreadsheet attached somewhere?
No.
Oh.
Can we make sure that we get those spreadsheets?
Do you want me
Madam
to attach those?
Yeah, if you
That'd be
could.
good, Madam Treasurer.
I
Okay,
appreciate it.
I
Thanks.
can attach it for next week.
Okay,
Okay.
appreciate that. Any other questions? Seeing none, may move to your next recommendation, Madam Treasurer.
The next one is D. D is a resolution authorizing the purchase of cooperative retail electric services, IGS Energy. This is a yearly authorization for our energy for the cooperatives.
Any questions?
E is the same for Southern Ohio cooperatives. This is a yearly resolution too.
With those, are there any questions for the treasurer? Seeing no questions, Madam Treasurer, your next
Okay.
recommendation.
F is monthly financial. It's a placeholder until Thursday.
I think Mr. Lacy will get us together. Next
Yeah.
recommendation?
Okay. The next one is minutes. Minutes is February 5, February 12, February 13, February 16, and February 20.
Questions? Seeing none, your next recommendation?
The next one is authorizing the purchase of cooperative for retail for natural gas. It's the same like the other ones.
Okay. Any questions? All right, seeing none, your next recommendation?
Next one is donations. Thank you, donors. We have 2 donations from Christian Women Coalition. That is for Mikini Vento, cash of $500. And the second one is Dayton Children's Hospital for DPS students, mini basketball hoops, and etc. So thank you, donors, and we'll send a thank you note after the approval.
Thank you. Any questions? Like Madam Treasurer says, definitely appreciate all donations. Next recommendation.
Next one is J, purchase requisitions. They are from different departments. Let's look at them, and if you have any questions, we'll answer.
We'll ask that we look at our purchase requisitions. If you do not have any questions at the moment, like I always say, you can please reach out during the week. But if you have any questions now, let's ask them. Mr. Walker.
Perfect. As a music person, I'm really excited to see the purchase of these instruments. I would have my follow-up is where we are with the status of our current band programs, orders that they submitted in August that have not been, paid for or ordered, and are still borrowing instruments from local colleges. That would be my first question. My second question is not this current superintendent, but the past one. The school band uniforms have never come back up. So if we can look at those and what that process looks like to actually get those. I just think on the band side, it is interesting to see our students in warm-ups and not an actual uniform when they're going out to perform and represent us with the great quality that they actually produce.
We'll get you, and actually we'll provide you with a comprehensive report in addition to the uniforms and just the state of the band, so to speak. All right, thanks.
Any other questions, Dr. Goodwin?
Can I add on to that request? Because knowing that their summer starts for them to prep for the fall season, just making sure we have for the bands that are participating in marching band, I'm not sure what they would need to do band camp and things like that, but we're exploring that now in the spring instead of in August when it's past the time for them. My second question on the Apple computers here. Have we switched over to the new IT firm yet, or are we still with the old one?
We are with the new.
Okay. How are we tracking equipment? And like, how do we know, or what's happening with our equipment once it hits the end of life cycle?
Mhm.
And just like I feel like in the past, we've had a lot of waste in this area, in the technology area.
Extraordinary amount.
And I feel like we're always approving more and more of these type of things and just kind of where we are with our tracking our devices, making sure that they're going and they're coming back to us instead of just continuing to purchase things.
Yeah, to your point, we have had in the past extraordinary waste. We have put measures in place as we begin to move to try to request the board as we go to one-to-one. So I'll let James and Mindy talk about the details of those plans that we're executing and answer your question about waste.
So one of the things that we have actually been working on is implementing Incident IQ to actually track all of our current assets, making sure that we know where they are and when they have last actually been active on our network.
And so right now, as she said, Incident IQ, anything that connects to our network, Google, Microsoft, it automatically goes into that tool. We track it. Once it comes back to our building now, we are using Incident IQ to also retire the equipment and track them outside of our building to recycle. So from the point we get the equipment today to the point it leaves our building, we have documentation where it's going and what it was.
Okay.
So we're in the process still of catching up from prior equipment, but it will be in there.
Okay. Thank you. Next question, the American Time and Signal clock replacement, is this for all the clocks throughout the building?
That is for all the clocks throughout Thurgood Marshall High School. That's a good one.
How many clocks they got in there? 23,000.
I mean, if I had to guess, I don't know.
Amazon, they like $5 each.
I know.
Just saying. What type of clocks, we putting clocks like that in there?
They're big time. They're going to last for cycles. Thurgood Marshall was built in 2006. 2006. Yes, he came in 2006. The December of 2006 is when he came. So, yeah.
They're analog. Are these analog or digital clocks that are going in?
That I don't know. I know the ones there are
digital.
Automatic.
Does that make them automated digital or automated analog?
She said digital.
She said automated. She didn't say digital.
Huh?
I can automate an analog watch.
I can clarify that,
Yeah.
but they are automated.
You see how that's not, that doesn't tell me which one is it. Okay.
Did you want to come up? You might.
Yeah, come on. Come on up.
Okay, come on.
So these are to replace the existing clocks. The existing clocks, right now, somebody has to go every time a battery dies or every time we have a time change. Somebody has to go and physically adjust each and every clock in the building. So this will put it on a system to where it's done automatically. Even if a battery goes out, we replace the battery, it automatically adjusts to the current time.
So we eliminating somebody's job? I feel you, technology.
We're not eliminating anybody's
The
job.
time clock
And
person,
that was
one
the
person's
struggle
job.
specifically at
No, it's
Thurgood, was
okay.
because everybody said it's not my job.
Okay. So, you go ahead, stay up, I have a couple more questions. On what happened to trigger the replacement of the door in the Dunbar cafeteria?
I will have to research that and find out. I
Okay.
don't know if it's age, it just went out, or if there was something that took place to cause it to malfunction.
And is this the one of the exterior doors or like, we're located in the
It
cafeteria?
said cage, correct?
Gate?
The gate, so that would be between the cafeteria and the hallway.
Oh, so that opening piece right there? I like how you waiting for me. I appreciate that. I might have one more. Do. Okay, transportation renovation. What's our update on, like, where is this PR getting us in the process?
This is for the furniture. So the
Okay.
bids came back for the furnishings in the building, so this is actually to cover that. So we can have everything on order, so it can be installed, so we can keep with the project timeline of June, July.
Okay. And what's the booster pump at Westwood, and what does it do?
So the booster pump comes into the building. There is maintenance that has to be done on those periodically. So this would be a part of that maintenance.
Okay. And is it only at Westwood, or are there other places?
There
that
are
need-
others.
Okay. I don't think my last one's for you. Parent homework dictionary? What is that? And is it digital? Is it a physical book? Is it, how's that?
Thank you for the question. It is actually a book. We are in the process of trying to replenish and reestablish our parent resource centers. So they're actual homework dictionaries that are good for K through 10,
Okay. Homework in like all subjects or?
all subjects that parents can take home and use and help their students with their homework. Because you know, some of us been out of school for a while, sometimes.
So you
don't
got
remember-
that new math in there?
It should.
I hear people on the Facebook going off about that new math all the time, so. That's
So I know
good.
it's a struggle to help your kids with homework, so this is a tool to help parents. And and we're getting it in English and 3 other languages that they had available.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Graham.
Any other questions, Mr. Walker?
I did. Okay, Ms. Graham, I think this is for you. So the district purchased cell phones for the students in McKinley-Vento as well?
Yes, T-Mobile has a specific McKinney-Vento program where we can control the use of the phones, give the phones to our unaccompanied youth. That way they can stay in contact with the school and get all the messages that we get from PIO or from Parent Square, because they don't have the access. And so we will work with those students. It'll be mostly the high school students for the most part, and unaccompanied youth to have access to cell phones.
Okay. All right, thank you. My last question is on the self-storage of 75 school buses. It says 2 months, but March to June is longer than 2 months, and I'm just trying to figure out, if we have a bus garage in a building next door that's not being utilized in other places in the district to store these, why are we using a self-storage place to store buses?
Don't everybody jump up at once.
Yeah, I motioned over.
Good evening. The 2 months of bus storage are for when the parking lot will be renovated, the actual blacktop and whatnot. So that is scheduled to be June and July of this year. A site was located near the transportation center that could easily store a number of buses. So this summer, we'll be running 40 to 50 school bus for the summer programs. The other buses, and we currently have about 160, will be stored in this lot, and then others will be worked on inside the garage.
How secure is this lot, or is the district staffing a SRO there to watch the buses overnight?
Not necessarily SRO, and we haven't looked at it. It's pretty secure. We can get you an answer. But we looked at sites near the airport, further away, and we believe that this site really next door to us will be best. And we can get you additional information on how secure it is.
I would appreciate it. I mean, if one of those 75 buses get damaged, then now we're back with another PO. So that's my only thing, but thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm back on the cell phones, I'm sorry. So when the student leaves the program, does the district take the cell phone back?
The students could keep the cell phones and they can roll it over to have their own service. Been in conversations with T-Mobile to come up with a bridge program to make sure the students can continue with some service as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I got a question about the parent books. How will that be distributed throughout the district?
All the schools will get a set amount, and then the schools with the specific languages that the company makes will get a set amount for those two, and then they'll be in the Parent Resource Center for parents to borrow.
Okay, so what will happen if they weren't able to return the book in question?
Well, we're not going to go after them because they didn't return the book.
Okay,
Well, they can keep it if they really need it.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I think Dr. Goodwin had a question.
Yes, on the RTA passes for family engagement. I have two. One, who are these for? And then second, the RTA passes that we have for our students, how are those tracks, like, do we not have surplus of what we're using or not utilizing?
I don't know about the bus passes for the students.
I'm gonna get you a partner up here. He
Okay.
gonna come up while you tell me.
But I mean,
what
but
to say.
the issue with that is we have to use those for the intent and purpose that they were purchased for. So if those are bought for students, that's how we have to use them. The ones for the parents are for us to help remove barriers for parents participating because they don't have transportation.
Okay, and what do we pay for the bus passes out of general or something else?
We pay for them out of general.
Okay, so those are general ones. So I'm not sure if they have that restriction, if they came out of that fund thing. But my question is if we have them, because they're not, correct me if I'm incorrect, that they get activated as you start them. Otherwise, we just have them sitting there. Because it's been.
Correct. We can get you numbers on how many extras we have, but they once they are activated, they're good for a year. So we can get you additional information on how many are available.
Okay, and these ones are coming out of Title I for parents, you said?
Correct, yes.
Yes, they're coming out Title I
About
for
how many?
parents to help remove barriers.
About how many parents?
Well, we're going to hold on to them. It'd have to be a special request for the school, and we will track them. So we're just anticipating that we will have those requests because we're working with the principals to remove those barriers. So I can't tell you how many parents right now, but they're not going to be blindly released unless there's an intent and purpose at that school for their parent activity and meetings so that we can make sure that we are giving them what they need.
Okay. I don't pretend to know everything about Title I, so my question may be out there a little bit. We started the program at Mount Street for for individuals who have left our district but didn't leave with a diploma. And it's like night school, I believe there. Is there any bridge or anything to bridge those individuals, even like if they had children still in our district or doing things like, is there any way to bridge those two programs?
If they're still currently enrolled in our district and their parents, this is an opportunity for them as well to participate in parent and family engagement activities.
Okay. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I did. You know what? No, I will. We have a committee meeting next week. I'll save my questions for then.
What? The committee?
Oh, wow, look at you.
Now we gonna all sit on pins and needles wondering what you was gonna say.
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Any other questions? No other purchase requisition questions? Like always, if you have any, please shoot them out. And I will also ask Dr. Lawrence, Madam Treasurer, Madam Business Manager, board members have those questions, if you can direct them to where they can get those answers, help them get those answers. Because what I don't want is for board members to ask questions and then have it floating in the ether and then they're asked to vote on things. So I appreciate that on all sides. Next recommendation, Madam Treasurer.
Next one, I have ZNN now. There are 3 of them. Let's look at them. If you have any question,
Okay.
we'll answer.
Any questions?
I may have one. Give me 1 second. Well, because one of them looks like one that we discussed already,
Let me see.
and I would have to go find it, so I guess I could wait till next week. Like the vandalism one looks like one that we talked about already.
With the safe and dry.
Oh, I gotta get back there.
Yeah, I thought we approved something with this already.
Let me see.
Yeah, the Service Master by Angler.
That's why I'm looking myself. But we'll get to it. I'll let you look it up.
Well, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna kick it
Anything
back.
else?
Yeah, I'll kick it back to the staff to look like to see.
Yeah.
I feel like we talked about this one last month. I don't see it on the one thing, but if we did already approve it, I guess my question would be, why is it brought back up again?
So I just, Ms. Leslie just confirmed we talked about it, but we didn't vote on it.
Okay.
All right. Appreciate you, Miss Guerin over there. Holding it down. Miss Kid to be proud.
What school you go to, Ms. Gear? The True Performing Arts School.
Any other questions for our Madam Treasurer? That concludes your recommendations, Madam Treasurer?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have some policies.
Only one today.
So I'll kick it down to Dr. Goodwine and her Thurgood Purple.
Why you gotta be like that? All right. In so much as the Board of Education is committed to updating its policies, rules, and regulations, manuals, and the committee, which was appointed, has been working towards that goal. The following are brought at this time for first reading in compliance with Board File BFC policy adoption. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Dayton City School District, Montgomery County hereby accepts and adopts the following that has been codified for the inclusion in the handbook of policies, rules, and regulations. Personnel, probation. These policies are being read for the first time. As such, a motion or second is not required. The policy will be available in the superintendent's office for review and comments prior to the second reading and adoption by the Board of Education. Furthermore, the policies will be reviewed by the superintendent's office, the Board of Education, the board office, and the legal department of the Dayton Public Schools prior to the second reading. I have one more thing to do under policies, though, that is not on here. I actually would like to do a motion to, Joe, let me ask you some questions real quick, right? As the former parliamentarian, right? So on the last policy, there's a line that shouldn't have been on there that we approved, but I just want to deduct that last line from it. So can I do a motion to reconsider to change it, or what do I do?
Yeah, that would be I mean, if it happened at our last meeting.
Yep, okay. So I would like to do a motion to reconsider. Stand by. I'd like to do a motion to reconsider our vote on policy GCAC. And the reason, just so you guys know, that the last line that has a line regarding substitute teachers should be subtracted from the policy as a whole, because we did remove that as the policy group. And we caught that today at policy, and we wanted to get that corrected. And just so people to know, you have to be able to vote. No, that's it. Go ahead.
To do the motion to reconsider, is what
Yeah.
you're about to say? You have to have voted in the affirmative.
Yeah. All right. There's some people with questions, but it has to be a second before we get there.
I'll second it.
Okay. There's questions on that end.
Okay, so are we discussing the actual policy that's out here?
No, this isn't that one. We're correcting something we did at the last meeting.
So we're not going to discuss this until we vote on it next week?
We can discuss it if you want to talk about it, yeah.
Yeah, I just was curious. We
That's
jumped
fine.
past this one to the other one. But it's a second other, so I'll wait till this concludes and we can go back
Okay.
to that.
Yeah.
I do have a question about this because I did not vote in the affirmative, and I just wanted to, which policy is this specifically? 'Cause I
This
don't-
is, give me one second. It's it's
GC.
transfers and transfers and assignments, GCAC. And the line that is being removed, or after we do this part, the line that would be removed would be the note that says long-term substitute teachers who are transferred from one location to another must have documentation stating the reason for their relocation.
Can you give me one moment while I pull that up so I can
Go
look at it
ahead,
real quick?
go to the review session.
Yep. And tell me one more time.
The middle one, transfers and assignments. And if I could ask, Ms. Spurlock did a great job of capturing why we wouldn't want that in there. You know, put you on the spot, nothing there. If you could just give some comments to the rest of the board who wasn't a part of that discussion on why we removed that line.
Good evening. We talked about long-term subs, and sometimes we have long-term subs that we hire and cover for one teacher. Maybe they're out on leave, and when they come back, we need to relocate them to the next position that they may be covering. When we hire a long-term sub, they're normally for that school year. Or they may be a building sub that we move from one location to another to fill in for places. And so we might move them based on the need for class coverage and based on the need for students.
Ms. Spurlock, for the record, you were an IB teacher at what high school?
At Meadowdale High School, Mighty Lions.
So you didn't attend it, you just went there and was like, I could be here for that. I mean, I get it. If
I
they-
was a teacher for a number of years at Meadowdale
There
High
he
School
is.
and taught from freshman all the way up to
I
senior.
think she left Eastmont last. That's really who she claiming right now. Just putting out there.
I claim Eastmont too.
Okay, sorry.
Mr. Walker.
What are we doing?
Okay,
A
so
motion to reconsider, such, Mr. Walker. If there is a vote, and if you come, the next.
I get that. I'm just talking about what she just said and what Dr. Goodwine said. What are we
Because
doing?
the transfer in the policy dealt with moving people around. She's saying that that piece for substitute teachers should be pulled out of there because there is a need at times for a long-term sub. Say, if they were at one building covering something, if they're in the policy, you would not be able to take them and then put them in another long-term sub position at a different school because they will fall up under that policy. And that's why they're saying they want to reconsider to change that line so we would be
It
able
was-
to do that when we have those long-term subs.
it was a mistake. I'm gonna take the mistake on my part at this point. It was a mistake on my part of putting that one line in there because as a group, we voted without that line in there. So that one line shouldn't have been there.
So I guess what my question is this saying that if the district transfers them, instead of them requesting a transfer?
That's a different, you want a whole nother policy here. This is just dealing with involuntary transfers and transfers in general and,
Okay.
voluntary too. So it's different subgroups on there. But they can, the nature of their job requires them to be moved.
Okay.
Got it?
All right,
I'm
and the vote,
abstaining anyway.
yeah, the vote right now is just to be able to reconsider. It's not a vote on the policy itself yet.
All right.
So we're reconsidering that line, basically.
Yes.
Or line item, if you want to say.
Yes, it's just that policy, and then after this one, then I'll make a motion to adopt the policy without that line.
Oh, then we're reconsidering the whole policy, and then we're going to.
Correct,
Oh,
yeah. You got it? There's a lot
Anything
happening.
else? Anything else? May we have a vote on the motion to reconsider?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Goodwine,
Yes,
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Nichols. 8 yeses.
Now I make a motion to adopt policy CGAC without the line, note, long-term substitute teachers who are transferred from one location to another must have documentation stating the reason for their relocation.
And I'll second the motion.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
Actually, I do have a question. Did this, when the policy was in the policy committee, did the appropriate bargaining unit president have input on this policy?
He did not come to the meeting, so no.
Can we, I would like to at this point then, I mean, I think when we have policies that affect a particular bargaining unit, we need to make sure we communicate at least twice with the head of the bargaining unit, that there will be a policy on the table that affects their bargaining unit, and make every effort to communicate that. I want to make sure that we are doing everything on our part, above and beyond, to invite those people to the table. I don't think that we should be passing policy if they've not been a part of the process.
They have the same opportunity as everyone else, and we send it to them directly. So he does get them. I can't make him come, but yeah.
I think that though, that there needs to be an extra effort on the policy committee's part to reach out and say, listen, there are policies that specifically affect this bargaining unit, not just an invitation, because they might consider, they might see the invitation as just a general invitation. You know, there's a lot of stuff that everybody's doing every day. I think that the onus needs to be on the policy committee for clearly communicating these policies are up for discussion and possible passage through the policy committee. We would like you to be here so that you can properly represent your bargaining units, and that we are not passing anything that can be in conflict with either their bargaining unit contract that we have with them, or within, you know, the needs and desires of the needs and desires of the bargaining unit itself.
Do you feel that just for the DEA or for all the bargaining units?
There's a lot of unions.
There are a lot of unions, but
So
I
I'm asking
would.
why would you segment out just one and not all of them? If you felt that passionately about the rest of them too.
I'm talking about this one, but I think it should extend to all of them.
Right.
Can I ask, the district only gets these policies when they're passed?
Who's the district?
Dayton Public Schools.
What do you mean that they only?
So
get
when
those
the
back?
board passes these, that's the only time that it's sent out to the district, is the board passed this policy, not during the review process.
They sit in the office, so anyone can come and see them where they are at their place, and anyone can request them.
So is there
And
a
the
reason
meeting
that
is open
we,
to the public,
is there a reason we don't send them out to the district?
because they aren't policies. I mean,
But-
we don't send, I don't know. I don't know the past practice of, I know prior to me being on policy, they didn't come out there. There are at least 3 people or 4 who've been on this board longer, so that would probably be a question for them. But no, we don't spam their email with things, but we do let people know where the information is if they would like it.
Yeah,
And we just start putting now too out when things do pass so they can get them easily as well.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I don't agree with the concept of the only time they get it is after it's passed, and the only time it's available is when they can come down to the superintendent's office and review it. Yeah, that's just me. I don't agree with the process.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? Seeing no questions, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes. Yes.
Dr. Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
No.
Ms. Reinhardt,
No.
Mr. Nichols.
No.
5 yeses, 3 no.
All right, so we're done with that. Oh, no. Mr. Walker, did you have questions on the first reading? You said you had questions on the first reading?
I did. I'm just curious of what brought this policy about, and does it not include administrators, or?
Let me take it or you got it? So NOAA doesn't include administrators because their contract dictates that portion of them. This policy goes to the individuals that don't have that dictation in their contracts.
Okay, so with regards to this policy, was there already a probationary period policy?
No, there was not.
Okay, so everyone currently works without a probationary period.
That's incorrect as well. Bargaining union contracts dictate their
Okay, so
probation.
non-bargaining union,
DSSs are the only group that didn't have a catch-all piece for it, and that's who this one speaks to. But we didn't label it DSS because you never know if there are going to be other groups that aren't covered in a probationary period for it.
Okay, and then is the 6 months in line with the administrative contracts?
Their contracts dictate their piece.
Okay,
So
so-
theirs vary based on what they sign their contracts to be. So it may vary from person to person. Some of them may not even have one if that's what they negotiated in their contract.
So can this policy be amended to add the ones who typically don't have a probationary period?
Not under the Ohio Revised Code. No.
Okay, okay. All right, that's all I have.
All right. Any other questions? Are you done with everything for policy today, Dr.
Yep,
Goodwin?
that's it.
All right. Next, we had a new business, just in case people want to share things. People like hearing from you guys, and I guess more than one time a month would be good. Catch some things. If you do not have anything, it is fine not to put anything out there. I will start over. I'll start with you, Mr. Nichols. You got anything you want to share, sir?
You come back to me.
Oh, I might forget, Mr. Nichols. All right, Ms. Reiner.
I have a few things that Dr. Lawrence and I discussed the other day, but I wanted to bring it to the attention of the board and to the public. The first off is there is an election next week, and so this is too late to affect that. But, you know, this has been a conversation for a very long time in this district, and I had the really, really great opportunity to speak to some fantastic groups of students at Ponitz and at Meadowdale about politics, about elected office, about ways in which they feel that, how they can make the world better, things that they think need to be changed in their either smaller community or larger community. And I wanted to talk to Dr. Lawrence and the board about, we need to make sure that the ability to register to vote is as easy as it is, as easy it can be for all of our students, but also for parents, guardians, aunts, uncles, excuse me, anybody who comes into our buildings. And I think we have opportunities in our front desks of all of our school buildings, in the front desk in our administration building, of having voter registration forms in as many places as possible. And, you know, maybe once or twice a year, just making sure that we have those voter registrations replenished so that, you know, if somebody stops by to pick up their kid from school, they see a voter registration form in front of them, they can grab it and register to vote. It's important that we teach this to our students, but I think it's also important that we can have that in front of our parents or guardians or anybody else that might come into the building. The second thing I have is the eclipse is coming April 8th. Dr. Lawrence, you saw the email that I was able to connect you to today. We are going to have a donation of several thousand eclipse viewing glasses for some of our students. I know that there are teachers who have already looked at purchasing eclipse viewing glasses for their classes, but we've got a couple of schools that will get some really great donations from the National Park Service. And then the last is, it came to my attention this week, and I think this is up for a little bit of a discussion here. There are some students who have some student fees that are outstanding, and it's a barrier to them being able to graduate. I want to have a discussion about how do we make the student fee waiver process more transparent and communicated a little bit more. I'm not going to say better because I don't know what it is, but we need to make sure that if students are eligible for student fee waivers, that they know what that process is, and that we can communicate with them. If there are organizations that can help our students, how can we help our students do everything they can to graduate. We want to make sure that we are reducing every single barrier to our kids being able to walk across that stage and get their diploma in the spring. So I would really like to make sure that this is a priority, looking at all of our high schools and our seniors and our prospective graduates, and making sure that we're doing everything we can to help them graduate and move forward and be successful in the area. So Dr. Lawrence?
Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. Ms. Dooley and I are on tour, and we've got opponents in Thurgood. We're going to all 10 junior high and high schools, and while we're there, we're having discussions about how we systematically make sure that students' fees and cap and gowns and things that they may not have enough money to pay for are taken care of. We have taken care of that in the past in Dayton Public Schools, but it's not been a system. Like, people have just figured it out and done it. So being able to systematically do that makes all the sense in the world.
Mr. Lawrence, Dr. Lawrence, I would ask, you kind of went to it, have we had students not be able to participate because of fees?
No, we've not had anyone not be able to participate, and like I said, it's just people just like they kind of figure it out.
And the reason I wanted to say that is because every year you have, what happens is people see these fees and panic sets in. They call, people get online. I think last year the big one was Belmont. Belmont kids aren't going to be able to walk X, Y, Z. So I'm glad you put that out there, because I don't want people to think that students are not being able to do that, because I've seen also where people are creating GoFundMes and other things, and I want people not to have to rush and get out there and go do that. So I think those conversations are good, but I also want to acknowledge that we have not had to do those things. So appreciate you, sir. Anything else, Ms. Reiner?
That is all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Walker, sporting the goatee.
I mean, I let my gray hair show. So I just want to say I continued some school visits. I was actually able to attend the My Child's Future Readiness Workshop at E.J. Brown with Mr. Bernard Jones, Callan, and Shasta. We were able to buy pizza for the event, and they had a really good turnout for that. I was really excited to be there and be a part of that. Read Across America have participated in some of those at Belhaven and Edison. I actually had one of my drum major students at Central State come out and read to the students there, and they picked on him. Another shout out to my fraternity of Phi Beta Sigma. Our actual international executive director of education had came out to read the students at Fairview. Attended the Edison's Donuts with Grown-Ups event, which was a great program, a lot of parents out. Wright Brothers actually tricked me to show up to their Black History Program event, and it was actually a stroll-off piece, so I was tired with that. I am old in that avenue. And lastly for me, next Tuesday is the third Tuesday, so we will have our parent-family community engagement meeting at 2 p.m.
Like that, sir. I like that. Mr. Lacy.
I don't have anything today.
Mr. Lacy, you let me down. Dr. Goodwine.
Yes, I want to echo Board Member Reiner that we have an election next week. We'll actually be here as the results are coming in. So I do encourage you, if you have not voted already, go out and vote. There are a multitude of things that impact some of our day-to-day stuff. I will say myself, I actually did endorse my fellow board member Reiner in her campaign. And I know people go, but you guys go back and forth all the time on everything. You don't have to agree on every little thing to respect people in their work and things like that. Justice Scalia and Ginsburg are great examples of people who had different political philosophies or ideologies, but were able to communicate on things that matter to them in life. So I hope I hope you get to go forward. If not, I mean, you can come kick it with us and keep rocking on. But kudos to anyone who runs for election. I mean, there are actually a good amount of individuals out there who are running. And if you've never ran for election, it is a lot of work. Not only do you have to go ask people for money that you don't talk to, you have to go talk to people all the time, and you constantly have to make the rest of your life keep going. So if the one thing you can do is get out there and go vote, please do that, because that is the one thing that you can do for any of these people who kind of give themselves to the public eye. So I hope you all make it out there. If you're coming to the board meeting, chances are they're going to close by the time you get out. So make that happen. Second, I will say, and I'll speak on another piece right here, I'm a Dayton resident. I am also a school board member. You know, issue 6 is out there. If you haven't gotten the mass things on it, I'm sure you see it everywhere. As a resident, I think it's a great thing. As a school board member, I am not a supporter of it because I do not support putting public funds into non-public schools. So whatever the majority does with it, we do it, we're gonna rock with it. I definitely hope that as we've seen our partnerships get a lot better over this last year, I hope that we keep getting better in how public dollars are utilized and what those impact. And I truly believe public funds should be in public organizations. That's all for me.
Mr. Bailey, Dr. Bailey.
First, I'd just like to say congratulations to Mrs. Reinhardt for the award you just received over the weekend from the Ohio State Board Association, or School Board Association. So kudos to you for that and the hard work that you've put in. The other thing is going over to Wright Brothers for their poetry contest was really, really, really awesome. Those kids did a fabulous job. It's just really good to see that our Dayton Public School children are not just playing basketball and football. I got the call from the doctor right here to say she even went to an event that I didn't know anything about. I didn't see anything on it. I wish I would have. They had a chess and checker competition, and I love chess. But I heard that it was a great event. So it's just great to see that we're just doing more than just basketball, football, even though I love basketball and football. But our kids are brilliant. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Vice President Wick.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for coming out tonight. Thank you to the team that continues to show up and do all the work. I'm looking forward. It's Career Day season, so be a lot of our schools having career days out there. So anybody that wants to share their experience about the work that they do, I'm going to share at E.J. Brown Thursday morning about my restaurant experience. So I have about 25 kids, and kids are super curious, and I love that. Read Across America, favorite moments, all the first graders. You ask what they want to be, and they want to be doctors, scientists, teachers, nurses, policemen. Fourth graders, everybody wants to be YouTubers. Everybody wants to be YouTubers. What do you want to be? I'm a YouTuber, and if that doesn't work out, maybe a doctor. So I encourage all of our parents and our administrators and our staff. I love technology. I love what it does for us, but I'm also interested in what it does to the mind, too, and how we're continuing to process ourselves and become. So it's fun being out there. So thank you for allowing me the work, continuing to do the work. Track season is upon us. We're going to be opening that beautiful facility at Welcome Stadium soon, working together with the team to make sure we're all set up for a lot of big events that are going to happen in April, May, and June. So yeah, continue to be grateful to do the work. Thank you to Dr. Lawrence, to all of my colleagues. Good luck to Ms. Reinhardt. I know how hard she's been working and how hard all of our folks out here work, you included. So thanks so much. Have a good evening.
All right, Madam Treasurer.
I have nothing to share tonight.
Oh, Madam Treasurer, you let me down. Dr. Lawrence.
Hey, thanks, President Smith. I'm going to start off by saying, as usual, thanks to the team. I appreciate you every time I look out here and see you. It's like Linus with the safety blanket. So I appreciate you. Lots of hard work. We continue to make progress. Although we see barriers, we just push right past them and continue to do the work for children. Valerie will be our parent meeting tomorrow. We'll be at Valerie doing our presentation to talk about what we've done in the district so far, so our state of our progress on our academic achievement plan. So we will be there tomorrow at 6. And Dr. Bailey, you stole it from me. I saw you at the Poetry Slam sitting in the front row, enjoying every bit of it, so I was going to go there. So now I'll go with congrats to the Dunbar boys, district runner-ups, my alma mater, and Thurgood Marshall High School, where I was the principal, the district runner-up for the girls, who won a thrilling triple overtime game, one of the best games I've ever seen, to get to the district finals in the game before that. So kudos to both of them. And then we were in Northeast Ohio this week. Matt Folker, Matthew McDowell, Lisa Miner, Keisha Sheehy, and I, we were in Akron. I went up a little early and got a chance to go to Kenton Public Schools. Thank you, Jeff Talbert, for your hospitality. We were in Akron Public Schools. Thank you, Dr. Michael Robinson, for your hospitality. And we saw some amazing things in Akron that we're already implementing right now, and that we're going to add to, and we're actually going to do a presentation on it. They're doing some really great stuff up there. And then also Warren Morgan, thanks for your hospitality in Cleveland. So thanks to my superintendent brothers up north. Thanks. Yeah, let's do Akron next week. What do you think, Ms. Miner? Let's do it. Yeah, it was amazing.
You can tell we're trying to get these people home on a nice election day.
It's going to be 15 minutes, I promise.
I'm trying, y'all. I'll be trying. I'm trying.
We'll have 30 minutes of questions.
Right?
Did you hear Mr. Lacy said? He said that the questions are double the presentation. Now that we can't control.
Now, I would say something, but I'm mature now, so see me after I tell you what my thought was.
See? All right,
Dang, I thought you wasn't gonna forget me.
I told you I was gonna forget you. That's what happened. You gotta move your feet, lose your seat. Go ahead, Brother Nichols.
Okay. I want to start with saying thank you to Ms. Reinhardt, because recently I wasn't able to pay off my senior fees. And I had reached out to the board to see if I could get any support, and she immediately hopped on and helped me with that. So I just want to say thank you. Because fellow seniors, if you don't pay your dues for a certain amount of time, like for the 14th, if we didn't pay off our dues, we wouldn't be able to participate in any senior events that we had going on. So just seeing you helping us, helping the district, I just want to say thank you. Last weekend, I was with the Botillion, and we were able to go to Camp Kern, where we did zip lining events and we played basketball. During the zip lining event, I almost lost my life, and I might not never do that again. We also, this Sunday, was able to have an event with our fathers at the Shop House, where we were awarded with different events and awards. I was able to receive the Jeffrey J. Mims Award for leadership in my group. Also, recently I was able to go to the Black Palette Art Gallery last Wednesday, and I was able to have an art lesson, which it's amazing up there. It's on West 3rd Street on Broadway. It's amazing. And lastly, what our superintendent didn't be able to mention was Meadowdale's indoor track was able to reach state for the first time since 2014. That is it. The Botillion is this Saturday, 16th. Oh, it is located at Sinclair Building, the Sinclair Building. 6 to 11. My bad. I really forget about that.
Is that all you got, my brother?
I'm finished.
I ain't mad at you. All right. Into a new month. Moving into March. You know what this means. No, we're moving into the testing season now. About to get up out of March, going into testing season. Appreciate all of you guys. Tried to get y'all out of here by 7 o'clock. Dr. Lawrence didn't want to let that happen. I blame Dr. Lawrence. Just want to say I appreciate everybody. It's a real task. About to get up out of another school year. It seems crazy, but it seems like we just started this school year. But we into the home stretch, fourth quarter. Please Please don't get senioritis, you seniors out here. If it ain't already done set in already.
It's too late now, I already got it.
Oh, let's get out here, represent what we can do, represent what we need to do. Appreciate everybody and all the work that you do. I ain't gonna hold you too much. Just get out here and go to some of these events. I will make a challenge for y'all to get out and support boys volleyball. Get out and support baseball and softball. Get out and support flag football. Because it's one thing for us to add these pieces to the lives of our students. It's another thing for our students to see us there supporting them while they do this. I mean, it really means a lot for a student or a family member to see somebody at one of those sports that's not like Dr. Bailey said, the football, the basketball, community event type game. You know, I felt great being at a baseball game and I saw my teachers there rooting me on. At a soccer match and I saw my teachers there. It did something differently when I could go into school the next day, and now they're talking about what's going on in soccer, and they didn't even know how to play soccer. They didn't know the rules of it. They didn't know nothing. It really does mean something. It means something when you show up at the Chess and Checkers. It means something when you go to the poetry event. It means something when you go to these spaces and children in there feel the same way that basketball player does if he hits a three-pointer, that football player does when they get a touchdown, that track runner does when they win a race. That's that same feeling our students feel when they excel at what they're good at. Or not only that, when they try something new for the first time, and they may not be good at it. We may not be good at boys volleyball when you go out, but it makes you feel good knowing that somebody was there to say, hey, you tried. This is something new. And so I appreciate Chief Jones and her staff working towards adding these pieces in, but I would definitely ask, just try to make it out at some point. You get to see families, those family members get to have conversations with you. Like, that is a huge thing. You'll see me out there if the weather's good. If the weather's not good, I'm not chasing my little boy in bad weather. I'm just letting you know right now. But please try to get out there. So that is all I will say. Like was said, get out there and go vote. Me, I'm not the type to endorse anybody because I don't want you really endorsing me like that. Get out there and go figure out who to vote for. Vote for people who represent you, represent your thoughts, your feelings, the things you want to see in your community. Don't get caught up in political rhetoric and all that nonsense. There's too much of it out there. There's too much left, right, this, that, too much of it. I say get out there and figure out what we want to see in our community, find the people that support what we want to see in our communities. That's the only way we're going to get somewhere. We got too much stuff out here about, I believe in this, I'm for this, I'm pro that, I'm anti that, and it does nothing for us, and we get stuck in the same rut that we've been in. So appreciate everybody. Appreciate the conversations today. It's 7:31. Shave the hour off, and you guys can head out, but we're not about to head out. Because, pursuant to Section 121.22G of the Ohio Revised Code, I move this board go into executive session. This meeting is being held for the following reasons: to consider the appointment and employment of a public employee, to prepare for and review negotiations with employees regarding their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment, to confer with an attorney involving pending or imminent court action, and to consider confidential information related to marketing plans, specific business strategies, production techniques, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance and negotiations with other political subdivisions respecting requests for economic development assistance. Now, in a new curveball, we did it last time, before voting to enter executive session, may I please have a roll call vote to determine that executive session is necessary to protect the interests of the applicant or the possible investment or expenditure of public funds to be made in connection with the economic development project, and that the criteria in the revised code 121.22G8A and B apply. Can I get a
Second. Second.
Thank you, Dr. Goodwin, and your third good purple. Any questions? Seeing none, may we have a first the roll call vote to see if this is necessary, then the vote.
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Nicholas.
Yes.
8 yeses.
Ah. Well, may we have a vote on executive session?
Okay. President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacey,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Nicholas.
Yes.
8 yeses.
All right, we shall retire to the board conference room. You all, I appreciate you. It's still light outside. We're getting out of here so early. Mario's still here with us. Appreciate you, Mario. See, that's how early we get out of here. You're still here the whole time. Eileen, I see you, Eileen.
Hey,
Writing
hey,
a story about something.
It really is a wonderful event for kids to express themselves in ways that are outside of just being in class. So it's an exciting time in Dayton Public Schools, watching our young people really tell stories about politics, about how they feel, about the world, all types of sides of them that we don't normally see during the school day.
To be honest, I was blown away. It's beautiful coming to my city and seeing the young talent, you know what I mean? It takes a lot to get on stage and to, stand in front of a lot of people. And I know some people rehearsed it and some of them was like reading it live, but it's different when you're in front of people, and they did their thing. So I was excited to be a part of it.
Something that I really liked was that every student's piece, it had some level of impact. It meant something. A lot of it was a personal story.
They all left a piece of them on that stage. And for me, that was big, for them being students. They're youth out here expressing themselves. That just made me happy.
We need to use dialogue within our communities, states, and nation to achieve the dream of so many people in the world. A dream of peace and justice that has been put off for too long. A dream that we must keep fighting for together.
We are gathered here tonight to commemorate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So great of a champion he was to our people and a true king amongst men. But I challenge each of you to take a long, hard look at yourselves and reflect. Then ask yourselves, would you be proud of where we are today?
Anybody who can write and wants to write or wants to be able to express themselves, they should come here. There's no reason, if you have the opportunity, for you not to try.
And after you try, you're gonna get better. So never be afraid to start and try.
That's right.
At Dayton Public Schools, we come together to celebrate the spirits of sportsmanship and community.
However, poor behavior by fans and sometimes athletes have created challenges that impact the safety and enjoyment of these gatherings.
We believe in creating a positive and inclusive environment for everyone, students, families, and fans alike.
Our collective responsibility is to ensure that our athletic events remain safe, enjoyable, and supportive.
To achieve this, we have a few reminders. Respect the game.
Make sure you show respect for the athletes, coaches, and officials.
Remember that these events are about skill, teamwork, and friendly competition. Do not walk on the court or field and remain in the stands and on the sidelines. Show support in a positive way.
Celebrate good plays and efforts by the team you're there to support.
Avoid negative chants, cheers, or comments that may create a hostile environment.
Set a positive example. Adults should lead by example for students.
Remember that children are watching, learning, and absorbing your reaction.
Students should lead by example for their peers and for those who look up to them.
Remember that your behavior influences those around you.
Let's come together to support our students in the right way.
Positive energy enhances the entire experience and creates lasting memories for our young athletes.
Join us in fostering an environment where everyone feels welcome, safe, and inspired. Together, let's make our athletic events a source of pride for our entire community.
We are
VPS.
So when you first walk in this particular building, what you're going to see is you're going to see bright, open spaces, clean